Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Tuesday. How is everyone doing today? Good morning, Sterling. Good morning, Patrick. Looks like a non-cocoa kind of day. It looks like a non-cocoa kind of market right now, but we still have the dip buyers trying to come in yesterday, still trying to come in. Again, we could be setting up for a more significant top, but we'll wait for the patterns to unfold. Until then, the trend's still up, at least in the medium term. The trend's breaking down in the shorter term. Good morning, Jacob. Good morning, Eric. Good morning, McRangers. For some reason, I like to say McRangers in the morning. Boy, that's. Hey, Options 22, how are you doing today? Good morning, John. No news again today. Well, yeah, I've noticed that. It's like the calm before the storm. It's like everything's going to hit. Everything's going to hit at once. Good morning, Jake. Good morning, Legion Reaver. Just know where your stops are. That's my advice. Always know where your stops are, especially now. Especially now. All right. So, did Tesla, hey, Sterling, did Tesla delivery numbers just come out? I thought I saw something scroll by on one of my feeds. But I'm sorry, I'm getting ready for the live stream. And the wife is in Arizona, so I've got 4 dog duty. 4 dog duty. Well, that's fun. And they got to all be walked separate at this point. So it's been a busy morning. All right, we had the Red Book numbers come out. Super strong Red Book, 5.2%. Even higher. I mean, the Red Book's really been holding up there. If you see the latest chart that's popping up now it's not as strong as earlier, but it's sort of ramping up again. Remember, wages were down or income was down, spending is up, and spending up according to Red Book too. So, max out that credit card. What do we have coming out? We have Jolt's job openings and quits at 9 Central, 30 minutes after the cash open. We have factory orders coming out at the same time. That is really it. That's the key time for reports today. 30 minutes after cash open. Then we got Bowman speaking, Williams speaking, Mester speaking, Daly speaking. So, are we going to have good cop, bad cop? With some of them being dovish, some of them being hawkish. And trying to say, oh, market, it's okay, even though we might not be able to cut, it's okay. We'll still promise stuff, and we're data dependent. But, we're still penciling in, some cuts. So we'll have to see what they say this year. I mean, today. So that could at least give some directional changes to the market. Also, remember tomorrow, we're picking up. We have the ISM services numbers, especially the prices. That's going to be very key tomorrow. And we got more Fed speak, and then we got Fed speak on Thursday. Why do we have to have so much Fed speak? I don't remember this. Early in my career, there's not this much Fed speak. Greenspan would talk every so often, but other than that, not so much. And remember, non-farm payrolls on Friday. By the way, the market freaked out yesterday. Remember I said watch the prices for ISM manufacturing. Prices, huge jump. Huge jump. And look, here's the U.S. ISM manufacturing prices. Look at the trend. That trend is up to me. Solidly up. So that's not, which if you have prices coming into manufacturing, that's generally if the manufacturers can, they pass it along. So that's where I'm not saying inflation has to go back to 9%, but inflation also doesn't have to drop below 2%. And the longer that holds up, you get into some interesting things. All right, I'm done talking. Who else do we have? Anissa, good morning. Hey, Mark, good morning. Tesla, if those numbers, I thought I said here they are. Oh, geez, that's yeah, they'll take it. 386. Woo! The Tesla growth story. Again, we got the long-term sell. Sorry. Okay. Now we're just waiting for the NVIDIA sell. Market map. Oh, there it is. Tesla down close to 6.5%. Everything's red. Everything's red. UNH. I wonder what's going on with UNH. Healthcare was UNH down nearly 4.5%. But this is a pretty bloody market besides energy and some industrials. Remember, we might see a little try to rotation into the Dow, but oil's still holding up. Now, oil's against a very key critical level today, a very key closing level. The groups, I'm going to have to refresh this with stuff moving. Look at this. Okay. You know what? Unless there's a stronger pattern, would not want to step in front of this selling. Only energy and industrials up. That's it. That is it. Fed watch tool still has 3 cuts priced in. But this is creeping higher. It's getting closer to a pause in June, or at least 50-50. We're getting close. I shouldn't say a pause. I should say at least 50-50. Going to keep an eye on that. Fear and greed, still in greed mode. We haven't even hit neutral mode. So this sell-off could be just starting. And this could be in terms of a larger sell-off. This is really, we've had a lot of longer-term potential topping patterns. Dave & Buster's after close today. Again, it's very quiet. Nothing really before nothing before the open, so I'm not going to focus on that. All right, we have the dollar index up there. I'm going to peek at Tesla real quick. Ooh. Again, back to that second target area we bounced off before. Remember, all you Tesla fans, we've already closed below the 62.5 multiple times. We should still see probably the magnet price over the next while. This is not the next few days. This could take weeks, but 126.50 to complete at least the double top pattern. Is that off? Yes, it is. Sorry. Is 162.40. What is this key target where we've hit a couple times and now we're opening just above? And then 145.74. That's going to be another key level. All right, let's get to the S&P. The S&P, which held just above the 62.5 yesterday, but now breaking down. The key area I'm watching going into the open is about 52.47 to 52.51. That's the first level. Beyond that, my next major level is 52.33 to 52.30. 52.30 on the closing basis. Shifts the probabilities for a potential retest of the middle of March lows. Remember, we got to keep this in big perspective. Big perspective. Based off this kind of move, you see here, when's the last time we really went into the rotation zone on the weekly basis? We haven't since the buy back in October. So a move back to even 5,200, 5,180 to 5,200 would not be shocking at this point at all. And that's not even a major topping pattern. So keep that in mind. Please keep that in mind. But right now, it looks like we could be triggering the double top, which is confirmed now. And I'm going to be even watching for the 4-hour close below this 52.63 level. Because then I'll be watching for any bounces for rollover moves. But following through, 52.30 on the closing basis. The full target for the double top is down at 52.03, so roughly 5,200 area. If we bounce, and there may be bounces with Fed speak, first area is about 52.63, and then very key area is 52.72. All right, those are the two key areas for the bounce. And then it's going to be the retracement harmonics. So remember, I can't really do because we're still selling now, but I put on the retracement harmonics and then use the harmonics. If we stall out in this area, let me just show you something. If we stall out even around this 50% retracement level, you know, I'll be watching then it'll be about 52.69 to 52.72. Then roughly about 52.77 to 52.80, and then major would be 52.90. That's exactly how I do it. We just don't have those levels yet, but longer term people should know exactly how to do that. Other than that, especially if we trigger this double top, confirmed double top, then, you know, it's going to be rollovers on the rallies. Let me take off some of these levels because we'll have to reestablish them once we get something new. Really pay attention, though, since it is against the daily rotation zone. Really pay attention to this first target area. Really pay attention. That's my advice. On this, we had NASDAQ buying still yesterday, now finally breaking below the flattening out rotation zone. Key area I'll be watching on today's close is 18,269.75. Intraday, if we break through that, 18,182, 18,094. But it would be a massive day if we hit that level. We're trading against a minor harmonic right now. So same thing, I'd use the retracements if we get some kind of morning low. Other than that, your two key areas I'd pay attention is the low from last Wednesday, about 18,378, and then major resistance is 18,445. The Dow also still lower probability since against the rotation zone. Now, if this closes below it, the probabilities actually shift. So personally, I can look for more aggressive setups for rollovers, but that key level is right around 39,550. Now, if this triggers, the targets are 39,335 area, 39,165, 39,998, so 40K, which is where the 50 is. Breakdown zone is this 39,690 to 39,700. So that's going to be very key resistance. Above there would be about 39,850. Russell, which does not have a double, the very key support is 20,090. Now, let's take a look. Let's drag this back to the whole reverse major swing. Below there, the key thing to watch for on the closing basis is 2082.9. But this is that very key support level, this 2089.4 to about 2092. And I'd use retracement harmonics if we get a low of the day coming in after the open. Who else is here? Good morning, Heinrich. Good morning, Charles. Let's see. Tesla decline in volumes was partially due to the early phase of the production ramp for the updated Model 3. Oh, they always have excuses. They have a demand problem. Let's see. Yeah, we're getting some momentum bars. Let's see. Good morning, Martinez. Yep, that's a good tip, Sterling. Thank you for putting that in. The surge in ODTEs and watch the gammas. That may, yeah. Well, you guys are just too good. I'm not needed anymore. It's a good thing I'm moving because I'm not even needed. Not even needed here. Big move up in the VIX. Yesterday, shockingly, closed below at 1375, but huge move today. So the next key area I'm watching is 1450. 1450. Now, this is not good for all the vol sellers. This is really not good. So if this keeps going, we could see some major unwinding of stuff. But it's really got to start popping about 1550 in the short term. Today, I'm watching 1450, then 15, then 15, and then 1550. If we start dropping around below 1450, I'll start watching for some more market stabilization. The DAX broke below the trend line earlier. There was a pretty bearish bar right here. See that spike to new high right after the European Open and then the reversal. This is a shake and bake pattern. Shake and bake, I don't talk about it that often, but it sucks people in, especially you get these horizontal channels. Horizontal channels, it sucks people in and then goes through the other side. That is because everybody who bought the breakout here is now trapped and adds to the selling pressure. So, and also we're breaking a pretty key trend line. So, on a continued pullback, watch for about 18,580. The notes Back to that first key target area. It's coming in 109.11.5 is very key support. We break through that 109 and then 108.13, which is right by the key closing level. The yield has finally hit the first stop. And I also have the bigger retracement harmonics on here. This is a very key area, this 4.395 area. So this is definitely, from my perspective, an area to raise a stop. Definitely do not ignore this area if you're long and you've been long the micro yields from my perspective. Why? Because it's the first target on the long ago triggered double. It is the 50% retracement harmonic. So we have a very strong cluster. And you see here it's a prior breakdown area. The next target's roughly 4.5, then 4.6. But 4.55 on a closing basis. This is a stair-stepping higher and finally broke above key resistance. But would not be ignoring this, at least with a stop raise. The dollar pulling back a little to the key breakout area with the separating rising rotation zone. So I'm just watching to see on a little short-term pullback or pause, especially a one-day pause up here. But remember, the next magnet price is 105.50 area. Crude, pay attention to this on the closing basis. 84.80, roughly on the closing basis. If it closes above there, it still triggers potentially higher prices for longer. Doesn't mean you can't get pullbacks. The key support area now on crude is roughly with the rising daily rotation zone around 83.12. That's the prior breakout level also. 25% harmonic pullback. So any pullback to there does not do anything. I'm just pulling off this channel. Remember, we are above this channel. So, and this is where I'm really going to watch the close today. We could possibly get a little selling pressure into, and the EIA numbers are tomorrow. Gold. Keep an eye on this. Gold's been on a run. Let me go back to the daily chart. See, it's getting very overextended. Very overextended from the rotation zone. Back about 22.20. So, depending on your time frame, you get a 4-hour close below 2249.1. Could be in for a short-term pullback. That would not be a shorting move from my perspective. It's against the daily rotation zone, but it would be a really good area if you're looking for gold in the longer term to potentially watch for support and reversal patterns back up. Why? Because that could easily take it back into the daily rotation zone and potentially closer to the major breakout area that we broke out of last Wednesday. So do not ignore that in the short term. Next key area higher, I just want to see with this 4-hour, if we do the reverse harmonics above 22.95.7 would invalidate the double pattern. So if this does not confirm or trigger and it spikes above 22.95.7, it's off the table. Silver. This is just, it's still trading with the rotation zone, but the pattern would shift. It's against very key resistance up here. Let me show you another little trick for the longer term memory. It's not a trick. It's something I've used for years. But I put on the little reverse harmonics from the double low to this because above this price was 26.34 area invalidates it. Now, then I use the reverse harmonics back from the low on the 14th of February to this level. Why did I use this level? Because it's already reinforced by these little reverse harmonics. That gives me the next harmonic level should we break above the highs back from May of 23. 26.88, 27.43. So that's how I've structured the harmonics to the upside. Now, if it closes below 24.45, watching for a potential key resistance level to have held. And we could have pullbacks without that triggering, though. Just pay attention to that very important level. Copper rotating back up. So we came back in the rotation zone. See the rotation back up? I'm watching 409 on today's closing basis. Hope that little information helps some of the longer term people. Yen still basing sideways. Euro back down to the 87.5. The euro, no, that's not a double, but we're getting a little bounce there with that dollar pullback, but I'll be watching for another rollover play and possibly a stronger bottoming pattern. Nothing going on yet. Spiders. Spiders to trigger the double top. First, to confirm it, has to trade below 518.40. To trigger it, has to close below 518.40 on at least a 4-hour basis. Right now, we're opening at 518.02, it looks like, right around that area. So that will confirm it. So I'd flip the harmonics around. But this 518 and then 518.70 and then roughly about 519.80. I'd look at those levels and how they line up with harmonics if we do put in some kind of low into after the open. Other than that, your next major target is 515.54. Really pay attention though intraday if it does keep running down to about 516.37 is the 50% harmonic. The Qs, which did that actually, that's just way too sloppy though, but we'll put it on there for targets coming down. We'll put it on there for targets coming down, but really with the Qs, 439.80. I would pay attention to 440.55 and then this 439.08, 439 level. That's how I'd use those levels because this is a very ugly pattern. On resistance, it would be 440.55, then 441, and then 441.95, roughly. To the lowers, again, watch 438.97 on today's close, because if you close below there, that shifts the probabilities to retesting the March lows, the mid-March lows. The Qs are just ugly right now. Bitcoin still has not triggered the bigger topping pattern, but definitely breaking down. Next key area of support is about 62,430, and then really watch if it closes over the next couple days below 60,771. Nvidia, it did not close. Look how well that 62.5 level has held, that 889.94. So still watching that on today's close. The rotation zones is 880, 879, 880. Still watching that, but because Nvidia is very key to this market. You're not an ant, Charles. An ant can't watch a live stream. Well, thank you. I'm glad I can help people. You're welcome, Sterling. Good morning, Richard. You know, that's what I'm trying to do is relay knowledge, and I hope everybody here who's taking something from this will help other people, whether it be in the markets or just in life. Just pay something forward and help as many people in life as you can. Be better people, whether it's making money, whether it's just being a better people, whether it's charity, whatever it is. Just put out the energy to help people. That would be a huge gift to me. By the way, from Sterling, TR Jeff, CRB on the TSX closed above the 50% level yesterday. So there we go. The breakout in the Thomson Reuters core commodity, CRB. Very interesting right there. All right, what else? Let's just peek back at the S&P going into the open. Ooh, Yeah, there's some major momentum bars. Well, coming into is very key. Look, we've hit that 50% level. But would not be over. I personally would not be over aggressive. We could get a bounce into the open, and especially something going into 9 a.m. But this is not a short-term reversal pattern yet. That's some major momentum bars. Okay, so a bounce play, I'd be watching to see if the tick collapses after a bounce play. Be careful with that. Now let's also peek in at Apple. Apple, because it's flirting. 169 on the open. This is very key. If Apple cannot hold this, your next level is 165. 165, oh boy. So even if you don't trade it, keep an eye on Apple. That's really about it. Let's just stick around and see how the tick's gonna open. Come on, Ticky. Ooh, oh, wow, there's some massive sell on the open. Minus 12. So if this bounces back, I watch for some kind of bounce move and then rollover plays. Now, if we start bouncing and can't get the spikes below 1,000 again, we might looking to stabilize, but that's a very weak opening. So I'd be watching for any rollovers personally on the open. Would not be looking to buy this dip right away. All right. Thanks, Mike, maintenance man. In my building my trading about Bitcoin hitting 150, I was trying to convince him to sell and buy treasuries. Well, you can't, again, people have to learn what to do. That's the point. I'm not trying to tell people what to do. I'm trying to give people a consistent market structure. So maybe they can take also what they know, their strategies that works for them, and maybe take some things from this and at least see how there's a consistent market structure that I analyze every day to help you. And then it's up to you. I can't tell you what to do. I can't tell anybody what to do, nor should I, because that would not be helpful. Everybody's got to learn, just like you can't tell the maintenance man what to do. Even though you may be right, you may have more experience than them. They're going to have to learn their lessons, and maybe they'll seek out some good education or training other than just buying the latest asset. You're welcome, Anissa. URA, let's look at URA real quick. I did not put that on. Thank you, Sterling. This is why I need everyone who tunes in. And remember, chime in with stuff. Just don't be afraid. We're getting more and more viewers again in the background. Do not be afraid to chime in and ask questions and point stuff out. URA did trigger the double yesterday, so we could easily see the follow through with the higher prices. What you're watching for, at least in the short term, is a close below 30.41 for my structure. All right, everyone have a good trading day. Don't try to be a hero in this market and buy, we have not had a more substantial pullback for quite some time. The dip buyers have been rewarded in the short term. I'll really be paying attention if some of these markets close below their daily rotation zones. Not necessarily today, but over the next couple days. With that, remember, we got lots of Fed speak and key numbers coming out in about 28 minutes. So don't get caught off guard, and I'll talk to everyone tomorrow. Bye for now.